Do not collect $200.
What?
He said go. Do not
Oh.
pass go.
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. Also, I bet a lot of people who may be watching this are probably surprised I'm doing this bit again.
Are they though?
I don't know. To be fair, not very many people watched the last one, but I don't care.
Yeah, I put all that effort into talking and nobody freaking watched it.
There was like a few views on it.
Bunch of ingrates.
Hey. Anyway, it is time for the probably annual April Fool's podcast. Which is just mostly gonna be us chatting for like 2.5 hours. While you got these lovely myriad of runs I did in Super Auto Pets.
Man, I thought we were all set up to do Pokemon Smash or Pass, but I was told no.
I technically did not say no.
Alright, let's do it. I'm pulling it up right now.
Oh gosh. Do we really want to, though?
We're going to start with Mewtwo, and okay.
And that's bit's over. I mean, considering this game is kind of Pokemon-ish, I would not be surprised if we talked about Pokemon during it at all. There is technically another game that's more akin to Pokemon, which I forget what it's called. I think it's like Battlemon or something like that.
I've heard of that one. Keyword heard. Just that's like literally just the name and the fact that what, that's what it was.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I personally have not tried it. This is a part where
Likes to the video if you want her to start playing SMT.
oh my gosh. Again, I'm not sure I could get away with that, considering I try to keep all my stuff, PG-13 at the highest.
You just censor the penis demon. You got a censor bar in your editor.
You know what? I could just not include it, I suppose.
There you go.
I could technically just cut that part out, I suppose. That being said, I still don't own any of the Persona games.
I didn't say anything about Persona, but fair enough. I honestly, it is better to start with Persona. Just even though like SMT is a much deeper game and far more Pokemon-esque than Persona, you'd probably want to start with Persona because it is more user-friendly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard. So like, if it
wasn't for me like testing the series out with playing Persona 1 through 4 back in the day before I even knew the main series even existed, for that matter, I wouldn't be into SMT. That being said, speaking of which, I hate the whole thing with like Persona and SMT fans going at each other, and it's just like, y'all realize that if Persona wasn't a thing, no, actually, let me back that up. If SMT wasn't a thing, because that came out first, then Persona would never existed.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Persona existing and getting localized in the West, then we wouldn't have SMT in the West at all.
Yep.
Because Persona getting popular is what made Fatless finally give this main series a chance in the West. And even when they did, it didn't do particularly well at first because I don't think Nocturne really sold that well.
I have no idea.
It was received pretty well, but like selling well, I don't think it did. And neither did the Digital Devil or Rideout games. I don't think it was really until the 3DS Devil Survivor games that the main series finally started taking off here.
Right.
Like it's never still been as big as Persona, but like it does well enough that that they're willing to at least localize it still.
Sorry, I need to sneeze. Or not, never mind. I think I'm okay for now. Watch me sneeze in like 5 minutes or something. But yeah,
Well,
I'll admit I really don't have a whole lot of knowledge of like Persona or SMT. Like most of my limited knowledge is from watching little bits and pieces of both.
oh,
Like,
trust me, you're in for an education.
I don't know. Because I think
Hey, if I'm willing to sit here and play all the Pokemon games from Gen 1 all the way through, as well as the side games.
I know. I just find it funny that, like, after we started the Scarlet Project, you decided, I'm gonna play through all the Pokemon games.
I mean, to be fair, I'd already like kind of started playing some of the side games since since Pokemon Snap got to the NSO and I replayed that, and that was like kind of part of my childhood, I guess, and that's like one of the few Pokemon games I actually had nostalgia for.
Mm,
But honestly, if you want me to like point to something as to why I'm playing the main games as well, I'm just gonna point to some of the AI videos.
I don't know. Let's not.
But it's funny.
I still have mixed feelings about using it with people that are still alive. And we talked about this.
But it's still funny.
Mm.
Now that's actually what got me into wanting to replay Fire Red, Leaf Green specifically, the remakes of Gen 1. It's just because of the series I watched, just to have as background noise was the remakes of Gen 1.
Ah, right. Yeah, see, I have only played up through, or rather, I should say, I started with Gen 5. That was the first Pokemon game I played. I have not played anything older than that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before in the somewhere in the Scarlet and Violet videos that I started with Gen 1, played through it, beat it. I played pretty much all of the side games, though I only owned Pokemon Snap and the TCG Game Boy game. But I
Yeah.
did play through all the Gen 1 side games apart from Hey You Pikachu, but let's be fair, nobody cares about that game.
I've seen people play it, and I'm like, I don't envy you. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, and then I borrowed Silver from a friend while he was playing Gold because he bought both versions.
Yeah.
And I played through maybe about now that I played through the remake, I could probably guess that I got about 2/3 of the way through because I know I
Hmm.
got to that town where you first see the legendary dog things,
Oh, Entei
and they go out into the
Suicune
wild.
and
Yeah, there's that burnt tower. I know I got through there,
you
and I
know,
think I got as far as the fifth or sixth gym before I called it quits. Because at that point, I was just like, okay, there are some improvements, but it's still just like gym, Elite Four rival.
I mean, yeah. And you're gonna have to deal with that for a while.
Well, I'm aware. Like, I will say though, I do appreciate some of the changes that Emerald made because it merges like the two stories, quote unquote, of that the original versions of Gen 3 had to make it a bit more interesting
Right.
to break up the whole gym thing.
Yeah.
It still has that issue, but it's a little bit better than 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I don't know, it's just not the pacing is a bit better despite that, but
Right.
like 3 has its issues as well. Like, I thought the whole IG and too much water thing was just a meme joke, but it's really not.
It's not.
There's too much freaking water.
There's too much water.
And as I said, I was telling this in private earlier, it's like it wouldn't be that big of a deal if number one, the map wasn't so bad to where you're constantly getting lost in the water, and
Mm-hmm.
B, this is like one of the few times where just using a grass starter or more than one grass could be justified because of how many water Pokemon you deal with in the second half of the game.
Yep. Yep. I think they went a little too ham on the water types.
Yeah. That being said, I do appreciate both of the Gen 1 and 2 remakes because there is literally no reason to play any of the Game Boy games. Any of the main Game Boy games, I should say, because Fire Red and Leaf Green give you like a way better what's the word?
Uh,
They give you a way better like experience for just playing the actual original games. Faithful, there we go. They're faithful remakes of the original games, but they have enough quality of life changes besides as well as looking better to where it's like, yeah, it's still Gen 1 problems, but it's manageable now because I can actually know what moves do what, for
right.
one thing. Now, the Heart Gold and Soul Silver remake, I still think Gen 1 is like the better game, even though like the game itself is still kind of blah. But the actual remakes for Gen 2 like make it way better.
Right, yeah.
Like there's so much improvements in the Heart Gold Soul Silver remake compared to Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you wanted a yellow experience, you can just play Let's Go.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I've heard is Let's Go is a better version of Yellow.
Hmm.
I don't own Let's Go Eevee or Pikachu. And I've never played them,
I
but
mean,
I have heard that.
yeah, and it's gonna be a while before I touch those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're trying to go through them in order of release, I believe.
I mean, well, kind of, sorta. It's more just like I don't want to play a remake right after finishing the main one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like probably the only generations I'll play like both the remake and the originals are 3, 4, and 1.
I was gonna say, are you planning on
'Cause I have not.
touching Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire at some
I
point?
probably will at some point. I just don't know when. But yeah, I can tell you right now, I'm not playing any of the originals of Gold and Silver or Crystal for that matter. Especially since I heard Crystal like has some bad changes with the good ones, kind of like
Right.
Yellow did.
I think I had heard that, yeah.
Yeah, there's like even though like it's the quote unquote like ultimate version, there's just yeah, it does make some bad changes, and there's no reason to play it over Heart Gold, especially since Heart Gold and Soul Silver are based off of Crystal, even though they did split versions,
Mm-hmm.
or rather, based more off of Crystal, because there's like some changes Crystal did make that did not carry over into Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
You know what's funny about the achievement system in this game? Just
What?
I just hit maximum level with the bunny yip. Not joking, that's the only pet I do that with this entire time. I don't get anything else up to level 3 at any point. It's just the bunny yip. So, yeah. I just hate the
Well,
fact that, like, there's two parts to the achievement system in this game. Number one, there is the main achievement where you have to get the pet to at least level 3. But there's a second part to it that requires you to beat the game with that pet, which requires getting 10 trophies, which is really hard in this game.
that freaking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I kind of hate it when games will have like. I mean, I get the fact that it's supposed to encourage many playthroughs, but I hate I hate it when games have like a billion beat it with this type of achievements.
And like a large chunk of these animals may not be viable for most runs.
Like, can you imagine how bad it would be if Nintendo ever added an achievement system
Oh
for the
no.
Switch, and then like they added it to like the Let's Go games, and it was like you get every single Pokemon getting put into the Hall of Fame was an achievement.
Oh
Like,
no. No, that sounds horrible.
yeah, that would just be a big, huge freaking no one, and then probably completion is nightmare as well.
Actually, would that even be possible? Because you can only beat the games one per save file.
you can still. Well, I don't know if they changed it in the Let's Go games, but the original versions of Red and Blue, you could add more Pokemon to the Hall of Fame just by clearing the Elite Four and the rival again.
I have no idea. They might have, they might not. I
Again, I don't know if they stopped doing that at some point, but I know that was definitely a thing in the original Game Boy games.
it was it. I don't recall it being a thing in black and white, though. To be fair, it's been so long since I played black.
Yeah, and I did not try it in the Fire Red Leaf Green remakes, obviously.
And I didn't finish Gen 6. Uh it was an option in Gen 7. Though to be fair, the entire system of progression is a bit different in 7.
Wasn't there one generation where you didn't even have to fight the Elite Four to get to the credits? I think I'd heard that somewhere.
I'm not sure what game that would be referring to. Because
I don't know.
even Gen 7, even though it technically doesn't have the standard like Gym Elite Four, it does have, in a manner of speaking, an Elite Four that you have to beat in order to get credits to roll.
I don't know. Maybe I could have heard wrong. Well, that team's dead.
Oh yeah, that team is very dead.
But yeah, oh, that's better. But yeah, I don't know. I'd kind of heard that somewhere, but I do like. I am aware that once I get to like Gen 5, even though I will always say that is like one of the worst ones as far as design goes, that as far as like being an actual proper game, like Gen 5 is like when it starts getting better and the pacing is better and there's that actual freaking story besides just like what's this bad guy team doing now.
Yeah, 5. I am happy 5 was my first one, because if I had chosen like one of the older generations, I'm not sure I would like Pokemon as much.
I mean, I already told you that too, that just playing 2 and it being mostly the same as 1, it just like killed my desire to continue playing at that point. So I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't blame you.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't mind a game that's a safe sequel. I play those all the time, but like Pokemon was not a good one to do that with because they really needed to like up the game as far as progression and story go with 2 and they just didn't.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe like that one having a much larger post game because I think I brought this up already, but you do go to Kanto after beating the Johto Elite Four, and you pretty much go through all the gyms, so you do get to see like what the gym leaders and the old rival had been doing after 3 years,
Right.
which is kind of neat. But the pacing of that was bad.
You know what's funny? Since you brought it up, when you get to Gen 7, you will actually get to see Red and Blue again.
Oh, they brought them back.
They
See
did.
that right there like should at least cue the fan base in or whoever subscribed to that theory that Red did not just jump off the freaking mountain and kill himself after beating him in Gen 2.
He is like a 20-something-year-old in Gen 7, but no, they are both there. I think you have to fight one or the other depending upon which version of Gen 7 you're playing. Like, I think it's like red if you're playing Sun and blue if you're fighting, if you're playing Moon.
I'll have to play Moon then so I can actually go see the guy that actually has some personality.
I could be wrong, but I believe that is the case.
Yeah, because when you fight Red at the end of Gen 2 post game, it's just dot 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 fight starts dot 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 fight ends, and then he disappears.
Wasn't there like wasn't there like a fan theory about like his Raticate or something?
Wait, who has a red? Oh wait, I thought it was Blue that had the Raticate.
Yeah,
Hang on a
that's what
minute
I
now.
meant. Blue's Raticate. I thought there was,
I've not heard. If there is, I've not heard anything.
because I think, and I can't compare this for certain because I've never played it. I think I had heard somewhere that he has like Eradicate and then just disappears after a point and is never seen again for the rest of the game. And a lot of people theorize that like the Eradicate like died or something.
I mean, I thought he just ditched it because it's kind of weak.
Yeah, that's probably the logical reason.
Like I would. The only time I ever used Eradicate was in the TCG Game Boy game, because it's a quick early card you can get that you can get a fair amount of, that you can have evolutions early on.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I didn't keep it till like late game.
Right, yeah. I know, like, that's a large chunk of the purpose of, like, bug types pretty early on, is it works at the beginning as a quick evolution thing, but they quickly fall off after a certain
Yeah,
point.
that's the only reason to use Rattata is like, I mean, again, in the TCG it might be different, but in regular game, the only reason to use it is just to have a quick evolution that isn't a bug.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you recall when I played Scarlet, I had the Scatterbug on there for a bit, but then I quickly ditched it.
Yeah, and like the only
Like, I think I ditched it before we were done with the first recording session. I think that's how quick it left my team.
I mean, I said it before and I'll say it again. The only good bug type is Scyther. And the only other bug type that like would be interesting isn't even a bug; it's a dragon.
Wait.
That would be Flygon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I guess the other Dragonfly one's pretty alright, but I would not want to actually use it.
What, Yanma and Omega?
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a huge fan of their design. Like, they're okay, but it's like, they're just a dragonfly.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Like, again, if I was going to go that route, I'd rather use Flygon.
which, to be fair, a lot of older Pokemon designs are just... It's just a slightly fanciful XYZ animal.
I mean, I will take that over some of the weird-ass stuff they did in Gen 5
You
and
just...
beyond.
You just hate the ice cream, admit.
And it's not just the ice cream. I could go on for a while. Like the trash bag. Come on now.
I hate the trash.
Sandcastle.
Sandcastle wasn't even Gen 5.
Oh, it wasn't? I thought that was 5.
No, that was Gen
Good enough.
7. The keys were 6.
But yeah, then there's also the stupid elemental monkeys. Screw those things.
They're like one of the few Pokemon that haven't been brought back in a Switch
goodness for
title,
that.
and that might be for the best. But that being said, I'm also have a sneaky suspicion they will bring them back in some fashion in possibly Legends ZA.
Like I get it. Like why I don't know. I get like people like this overrated chandelier because it's one of the few designs in 5 that's actually decent when you compare it to stuff like the ice cream cone and the trash bag or the elemental monkeys. But come on now. That doesn't change the fact that a lot of the other ones are kind of bad.
Says the person that does not hate Electrode, despite it being just a Pokeball.
It may be just a Pokeball, but it can be excused by being excused by just being a robot. Same thing with Magnemite. I don't hate it. I don't particularly like it.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there are definitely some like
I won't say Gen 1 doesn't have some stinkers as well. Like Jinx and Mr. Mime are like the scourge of a lot of the earlier designs, not just Gen 1. Like screw those two.
Like, here's the thing. There's over 1,000 Pokemon species if we don't count variations. If we counted variations, it would be closer to probably like 1,200 or something Pokemon. There's gonna be bad designs when you have to make that many creatures.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like it got progressively worse starting with Gen 3.
Which is why, like, other creature taming games that actually find a way to make sure most of their designs still look good is like impressive.
I like what S&T does, where they have the first few games, because the compendium was small, added a fair few. But once you got to Nocturne and like early Persona, they started like, instead of just adding a lot, they would just they would bring a lot of them back, drop some of them, so you never could tell which ones you are returning ones you were gonna get. But then they'd add however many new ones. So it usually wasn't a lot, but there usually is some. But instead of just, okay, here's the same stuff, they'd often either redesign them visually or completely rebalance them. So
Mm-hmm.
like one demon you were using in, I don't know, Nocturne might be different in SMT 4 or 5, both visually and performance wise.
See, and that's something that Pokemon doesn't do. Pretty much outside of maybe some moves being retired or whatever, most Pokemon fundamentally don't change over the generations. The biggest change that's probably happened to Pokemon over the years was when they added the fairy type and a bunch of Pokemon got added to that. Which, to be fair, some Pokemon did actually benefit from having that new typing added.
I mean, adding double type was a pretty big thing as well.
And yeah, that's true, double typing also helps as well. But for the most part, other than those couple of instances, Pokemon individually, from species to species, has not changed a whole lot across the generations. And there's
Yeah, and
also,
when they do change visually, it's usually just like changing how their sprites look or what kind of pose they have. When I say they changed it visually in S&T, like they freaking change it.
like, the closest you get to something like what SMT does in Pokemon is the regional variants, which was first introduced in
Yeah, that's probably the best comparison I can make to S&T demon changes, visual changes.
but the thing is, the original version is usually still available in some fashion in the game, so you have both regular version and the original version of that Pokemon. So, like, for example, Alolan Vulpix was available in addition to being able to just have regular Vulpix instead of just replacing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's
I mean,
still not.
part of me kind of likes that. So if you don't like the new design or the new balance, you can still use the old one. But on the other half, that kind of ruins the point of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was about to say, actually. Like, I like the idea of changing them. The fact that the old versions are still there just kind of defeats the whole point of them existing.
Yeah.
And then, starting in Generation 8, they added new regional evolutions. And that just kind of throws a huge wrench in the cog, so to speak, sometimes. Because, like, because then they had to come up with ways of, oh, why can you only get this regional evolution in this region and not in other regions? So they had to come up with weird mechanics associated with that. Like Cleavor for the Scyther line, for example. Which...
I remember that thing.
You remember me trying to catch it, I'm sure. When I was trying to, make more progress on the, Indigo Disc decks.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to something else that I'm not going to bring up because that's not been, out yet.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Anyways. So, yeah, I understand the idea. The original variants do help give some variety to Pokemon. It's just, I don't think it was well executed from the get-go.
Yeah, and when they do like finally start dropping things, that the fan base throws a huge bitch fit, cough, sword and shield.
Yeah, and I think a large chunk of that is because of the fact that, like, being able to transfer in your or old Pokemon from the previous games was such a thing for so long.
Which I kind of get, especially if like you're moving to one that has a lot of bad designs. But on the other hand, it's like I don't know. You kind of ruin the point if you do it too much. Like I understand maybe transferring like one of your iconic ones, like your favorite starter, for late gameplay, because you have to like clear all the gems usually, at least in the earlier games, to be even able to have them obey you properly when they're like their levels are high enough to where you can actually use them.
No,
If you're
that's
pulling them off a game you cleared with the Elite Four.
no, that's still a thing. That's not changed.
I know it's okay, yeah, but fair enough. But my point is like I get wanting to do that for late game stuff or post game especially.
Yeah,
But I don't know if you're just gonna pull your old Pokemon to play the game from start to finish. Why?
yeah.
It's like why are you even playing it at that point?
Honestly,
It's
I
not like this. It's not like these games outside of maybe five have these riveting stories.
honestly I think what they should have done is just don't guarantee that everything was going to return.
Yeah.
Like, they shot themselves in the foot from the get-go when they
Hmm.
did Gen 2. They set a premise that was inevitably not going to be able to be fulfilled.
Well, with Gen 2, I kind of get it though because you got both regions, even though one of them was mostly post game. Gen 2, I get. 3, they should have ditched it.
Yeah, you know what, you're right. That makes sense. I honestly keep forgetting you have both regions in second gen.
I mean, that and like Gen 2 plus Gen 1 is still not a huge amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
it was what, like, the 300 Pokemon in Gen 2-ish?
I believe so.
I'll be honest, I don't remember how many each gen got, other than the fact that Gen 1 has 151. Like,
Hmm.
that's the only generation I can remember how many exactly were released. And I know for a fact the original release of Black and White only used new Pokemon. So it's like, I think either the most amount of blue Pokemon or the second highest amount. It's over 100 species for Gen 5.
Yeah, although honestly, I'm actually kind of grateful that like Gen 2. It's not a good thing that set the precedent. They should have just like killed out with 3 so people would stop expecting it from that point onward. But I'm glad they kind of did it with 2 because that's the literally, from what I can tell, literally the last time you can get a Mewtwo naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't for the remakes, you would not be able to transfer that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
As far
Yeah.
as I can tell, that is still one of the best psychic types,
Uh-huh.
if not the best.
But, like, here's the thing. It should have been obvious that it was gonna happen, considering the fact that, like,
Why is that dragon in bathtub?
I don't know. It is, though. It just is. It's some sort of mythology creature. Because, like, this... But,
Loch Ness Munchies, need some Loch Ness Munchies for Tree Fitty.
you probably notice there's a lot of mythological creatures that is suggesting to me. And that's just because this weekly pack of pets in this game had a lot of the mythological expansion animals in it. Because, like,
Yeah,
that's pretty much what I do when I play this game. I just play the weekly set. Because it forces me to use pets I don't normally use. And allows me to play with some of the stuff that would normally be locked behind the paid expansions.
yeah. What you were saying?
What was I saying?
Talking about Gen 2, and the last thing I said was something about Mewtwo.
I don't remember. I'm sorry. uh, what I was gonna say, I don't know if that was, that's exactly what I was gonna say next, but, like, going back to the whole people complaining about the whole, we want to be able to have transfer in all our Pokemon. Here's the thing. It was strongly hinted it was going to happen when it was revealed that Gen 7 didn't have a national dex in it, like the previous games did. Like, that should have clued in on a lot of people that this was gonna happen.
Should have happened sooner than later.
Honestly, it should have happened way before Gen 8 of all things.
Like, if you ask me, the only ones that really like after 2, the only ones that really could have kept carrying over are the legendaries and the starters.
Like, I also realized that probably a large chunk of the reason why they wanted to make sure Pokemon could be available in all the games is because of a certain yellow rodent being their mascot.
I mean, obviously that one being a mascot would be immune to that, but yeah. Again, it should just kept the starters and the legendaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
maybe a few other major iconically popular or iconic ones, like unfortunately Pikachu.
Or Eevee.
Yeah, Eevee should just stay because of its unique mechanic of how many evolutions there are.
Yeah, unfortunately by this point, I really don't think we're gonna see much for Eevee moving forward.
I mean, doesn't it have a type for almost everything now?
No, it doesn't.
What's it still missing besides Dragon?
A lot of them, actually.
Really? Because I know it's got, let's see, it's got fire, water, electricity, leaf,
Grass.
grass, dark, psychic. There's a fairy, isn't there?
Yes.
Fairy, ice. So yeah, it's like just missing dragon, fighting, steel, and ground. And rock.
No. You're forgetting steel. Or did you say steel?
I said steel.
Oh, okay. That's still...
I think I said steel. Maybe I thought I said steel, but didn't actually say it. But yeah, I know. I was thinking steel as well.
It's missing like half of them.
That sounds more like it's missing a third, but fair enough. I mean,
Normal technically doesn't have an evolution either.
I mean, technically Eevee itself isn't normal, so...
A lot of people think it should, have its own evolution. Also, you didn't mention rock, too.
I said rock. That one I know I said.
Did you? Man.
Yep.
Cool.
I mean, Discord might have cut out, but I definitely said rock.
But that's still roughly around half of the types not being covered.
And honestly, you could just not get a rock, because rock is just as bad, if not worse, as grass. Because, much like grass, 5 freaking weaknesses and 3 strengths.
Yeah, if you probably hadn't noticed, most of actually all of the evolutions are based off of what was originally considered special typing. Because remember how originally the different elemental types were associated with either special or physical, which hasn't been a thing for years. I think they got rid of it in Gen 4 or 5. Might have been earlier, actually.
Which is kind of dumb.
The fact that it existed, or the fact that they got rid of it?
The fact that they got rid of it.
Why? It basically...
I don't know.
It basically made a certain typings not viable as competitively. That's why they got rid of it.
Oh, I don't care about comp players, so...
I mean, it also affected, like, late game, too. Which is another reason why they got rid of it.
I don't know.
Yeah. As I said before, if it's something from before Gen 5, my knowledge of it is a lot less confident.
I mean, they could easily do a steel one just by making a robotic Eevee.
A lot of people really hoped that we were gonna get like a dragon type and maybe a steel type in the last couple of generations, but nope, nope. We literally haven't gotten a new evolution since Gen 6.
which is kind of weird because again, that's like one of their more iconic things. They even gave its own thing in Let's Go.
Yep. But it's just funny because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the partner Eevee can evolve. I think it is stuck as an Eevee.
Is it?
I think
I know
so.
Pikachu can't. I hadn't heard that about Eevee.
I'm pretty sure your partner Eevee cannot evolve. So you had, in order to get any of the other ones, evolutions, you have to find a new Eevee. So, like, I have a sinking suspicion we are not seeing another evolution. But, and if that's the case, can we please make a new complex evolution line like Eevee, if that is going to be the case? Because, like, I feel like the other types should get some love, even if it's not via Eevee. Because, like, I could totally see why they wouldn't
Oh
want to
yeah,
do that.
apparently it doesn't want to involve. That's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something dumb like, oh, it doesn't want to evolve, it wants to stay in Eevee or something like that. Like, there's been, like, as I was saying, I understand why they might not want to make Eevee's evolution line more complicated, because Eevee is definitely the most complicated when it comes to evolution options. The only thing that maybe comes close is Applin's line, I think. But even then, that's nowhere near as complicated. But a new Pokemon would be nice. I've seen various like theoretical ideas for a new complicated split evolution. Like maybe make it a lizard instead of a mammalid.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm curious. What would you want to see for a Pokemon design?
I don't freaking know.
There's not.
I'm still waiting for them to call out my bluff and add a vending machine and a parking meter Pokemon, but that's not something I want. That would be more of a sad sigh than anything else. It just could pretty much confirm that they're out of ideas.
Right. Uh, it's kind of funny because like what I original if you had asked me this question probably like 2 or 3 years ago, I would have probably have said a dolphin, which we did finally get a dolphin Pokemon. We have Fenton and Palafin.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that because we got freaking whale then over there, fat ass whale, but no dolphin for quite a while.
Yeah, we also didn't have a flamingo for a very long time as well.
But we did get a child biting pelican in Gen 3.
Which evolves from a seagull.
Yeah, the one that looks like one of Obama's Predator drones, I might add.
Okay.
It does. It looks like a drone.
I guess. Man, you should see it when they're parked on the ground. It looks even weirder. Because, like, they fold their wings, like, in a way that, like, no bird normally would fold their wings.
Oh, I've seen it. It looks so dumb.
It does. It really does.
It kind of reminds me of like one of those one of those cars like the DeLorean that has those doors that open like that.
You know what? I see it. I do. Uh, so nothing really? There's
I
no.
mean, I guess. Uh, uh, like I can't think of anything that hasn't already been covered.
You know, I'm like,
Like we've already got like multiple ways of like dealing with a dragon.
well, I'm not
Like
referring to like typing or anything. I'm just referring to what kind of
no, I'm
creature would.
like interpretations of like a dragon because you've got like Peach Dragon as a Dratini, you got your freaking Giga Chad fire breathing dragon as a Charizard, and
Mm,
you got your Flygon as like something more quirky.
quirky.
So like, I mean, it kind of is. It kind of is a bit quirky.
You know what? That's better than what I usually hear people comment about Flygon.
What?
I've certainly heard people being not very huge fans of Flygon's design.
Why? Actually, I get the two Prevos, but Flygon itself looks pretty alright.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Flygon is probably one of my favorite, like, dragon types.
Like again, if it was a bug type, that'd be one of the few bugs I'd actually appreciate.
Hmm. It's not. A lot of people thought it should be, though.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess if I wanted to see something like maybe some more mythological creatures, maybe. But I don't even know what I'd want to point to for that.
Like, off the top of my head, things I know for a fact haven't been done before, uh, it would be kind of cool to see, like, a beta, like a beta fish or something at some point. Because, shockingly enough, we don't have that yet.
Yes, Jaws needs to have a more proper predator. Or prey. Jaws needs to have a more proper prey, I mean.
Like, we have Bruxish, which is the most ugliest thing ever. And then your other options are things like a goldfish in the form of Golding and Sea King, a piranha in the form of Carniva, which evolves into Sharpedo.
Yeah, maybe they need to give us another shark that isn't that.
Is this a part where I tell you that Sharpedo has a mega evolution?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
does it actually turn into Jaws now?
I forget what the design looks like, and I haven't looked in a while. Uh, but yeah, it's one of the few Pokemon that actually has a Mega Evolution, which theoretically we might actually see that come back with the new Legends game, considering they've outright said, yeah, Megas are coming back. I am curious to see, like, what new Megas we get.
Ugh.
Because there's certainly some Pokemon that would probably really benefit from having a Mega form. Flygon is actually one of those ones that a lot of people think should have a Mega. And
Mega Blastoise.
and like, let's be real, we know for a fact the starters are gonna get Megas if they don't bring back the original starters that had Megas.
I mean, the only one I ever, the only early one I can even remember having one is Charizard and Mewtwo.
Yeah, I mean, the original Kanto starters all have Megas.
I mean, the only reason I even know about some of the Megas is because of um, Rumble World.
Oh, I didn't know Megas were in that game.
Yeah, they are. As far as I know, that's the only Rumble game they're in, though.
Hmm.
Unless they're in the mobile game, but I ain't touching that one. I don't think a game can touch that one. I think it got shut down.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. You know what's funny? Do you want to know what has a Mega Evolution that honestly I have no idea why that is the case?
What?
Audino. Audino, of all things, has a Mega Evolution. Which is
Mega.
basically the Gen 5 Chansey. Just why that of all things did you decide to give a Mega form?
It could have been worse. They could have given it to. They could have made Mega Mr. Mime.
They didn't. They did give him an evolution layer though.
Why?
Because
Nobody likes that thing.
to be fair, Galar Mr. Mime does look better than Kanto Mr. Mime.
But it's still Mr. Mime.
Yeah, well, they decided it needed a evolution. For some reason. I don't know. That is definitely one of the Galar regional variants that I'm like, why do we feel the need to give that one? The other one that comes to mind is Galar Wheezing.
Oh, I don't even bring that thing up.
Yeah, because you've actually seen it now.
I hate that thing.
Aw, don't like the lovely gentleman with the top hat with the...
No.
Do you remember me bringing up the fact that it was fairy type?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's poison fairy if I recall correctly. And like, here's the funnier part. It's pre-Evo. Oh, I realized I may have mixed up the two. So, Galar Wheezing, is what I meant earlier. But like, coughing's still the same. It's just for some reason Galar evolves into a different variation.
Yeah, I don't know what the point of that is.
It's like the, Alolan Raichu situation again. Which, to be fair, I actually do like Alolan Raichu more than I like Kanto Raichu. It looks like a way more fun design. You know what I'm also surprised we haven't seen in terms of a Pokemon design? An
What?
Alicorn.
I guess?
Like, you would think Rapidash would have gotten like a Mega or something to give it like wings to make it an Alicorn. Nope.
Yes, we need to go full on My Little Pony as if the Galar version wasn't enough.
Oh.
What's the third form of that one going to be as a freaking Pegasus? Is that going to look like what's that thing's name? Fluttershy, and be like, stay out of my shit.
Have you even really seen a My Little Pony though?
No, but I know what it looks like.
See, this is the funny part.
Oh man,
Like,
that reminds me. I never showed you Pony.mob. We need to fix that.
do we need to?
Yes, we do.
Oh boy. Because, like, I, at some point, watched most of the Friendship is Magic generation. And I've seen, like, bits and pieces of some of the, I think Generation 2 My Little Pony? It's either Generation 2 or Generation 3. I'm not sure. Because I don't quite remember where the generations line up for the My Little Pony.
Man, I love that old meme where it was just like Pokemon, target audience, little kid, actual audience, young adult. Call of Duty, target audience, young adult, actual audience, little kid, and then it's like My Little Pony, target audience, 3-year-old girl, actual audience, fat neckbeard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed what I saw of Friendship is Magic. Like, it felt like it was entertaining enough for an adult.
I mean, to be fair, there are some kid shows I've watched as well as an adult, so I just would not touch that one.
I don't know. I feel like you should at least try Friendship is Magic at some point. There are definitely some episodes that don't work very well. Like, there's definitely filler episodes that take place. I'm like, this wasn't needed. And there's also
Sounds like every long lasting cartoon ever.
and there's also the fact that, like, at a certain point the story writing as a whole just kind of goes downhill, because I believe the original writer kind of left.
Hmm.
Which that
So what you telling me is this is Furry Simpsons now.
I mean, the show's not even running anymore. It ended like I don't remember. It's at least been not running for at least 5 years by this point, I'd have to say. That being said, the current generation of My Little Pony, from what I've heard, is not great. And from what I've seen of it, it also really does not look good.
I was about to say, isn't like the current one like some really bad CGI thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is
So
a
it got the Thomas the Tank Engine treatment.
which is a crying shame, because like there's been like various artists showing off what the original concept art for the characters look like, and they look good. And it's very clear that corporate was heavily involved with some of the mistakes that they made in the show.
Yes, there's nothing like designed by committee.
Uh, yeah.
You know, as if that wouldn't describe like literally everything wrong with the entertainment industry now.
Yep. Yep. So unfortunately. And like, it also does not help how so many of the media companies have merged.
Yeah.
And that basically means there's like no competition really. So all these
I mean, it's not even so much that, it's just like do you I don't know, just certain ones are just like what's the point of like antitrust laws if Disney's allowed to buy everything?
yeah. Yeah.
Like for real, that to me is like the big problem. It's just like everything's so much stuff is under Disney, Universal, or um, shit, Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Which
And that's just in the film industry. I don't even want to get started with the game industry.
oh, like the fact that anything under Warner Brothers just dies?
Yeah.
That's just really depressing. The fact that anything Warner Brothers buys just gets destroyed or mutilated in some fashion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that could also be extended to Disney, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely could.
Like, they ruin everything they touch now. And, like, ever since, like, Bob Iger took over, like, all they do is just buy stuff and then run it to the ground. Like, when's the last time they actually created something new?
That was actually good. Because from what I've heard, Wish was not good.
Is that really something new that was just like, oh, hey, let's clutch our pearls with all our APs and throw them in there as an Easter egg hunt?
Wish?
Yeah, wasn't Wish just like a big freaking big fanfic prop hunt? Just like let's look for the references instead of make a movie.
I I don't know.
That's what I'd heard anyway. It was just like a big reference hunt.
I I will admit I have no idea because again, I never saw it. And I'm
Fair.
not hugely inclined to watch it either, considering how bad the trailers to me looked. I probably will watch it at some point because my dad seems really inclined on watching it.
I mean, let's be
Just,
fair. Your dad is like the biggest Disney stan I've ever seen.
I wouldn't say that. I think he's just more willing to put up with things than and I or anybody else is.
Fair.
And like, I kind of am like that too, but I also have a distinctly different tolerance level to uh what I consider okay.
I mean, I'm definitely more tolerant with certain things in gaming than I am of movies, but still.
Mm.
I mean, of course, it doesn't help that they keep torpedoing themselves with marketing as well, because, the Dungeons and Dragon movie, they came out. I mean, this isn't Disney. This is like, I think this is like Warner Brothers. Was it Warner Brothers? I don't know, but anyways, that Dungeons and Dragon movie, they came out swinging about how they were going to emasculate men and all this other stuff. So you everybody thought it's going to be woke garbage, and then the movie comes out, it's like, oh no, it's actually pretty good. But by then the damage had already been done.
Mm. I mean, it doesn't help that like when prior to that movie coming out, the only other really D&D related things that existed was like a really old D&D show, a really old D&D movie, and
That one was pretty bad. That one was just bad.
and
I did see that old one too.
Vox Machina, which is the TV show based off of the campaign from Critical Role, which very clearly was probably not safe for kids to watch.
Probably not.
Which is sad, because, like, there is a way to do a okay campaign that doesn't have to be all, like, booze or sleeping around.
Idiots.
Like, you can do that. It's just, you don't see that. And you don't hear about it when it comes to, like, Reddit stories or anything like that. If you hear anything about D&D, it's usually the horror stories.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like. I've heard plenty of horror stories like actual D&D playing, but I've never really heard much of like outside media, like set in the movie or whatever.
Right.
Like I've never played D&D. I don't know anybody that actively plays D&D. I don't. I have not touched any outside media of D&D apart from those two movies.
Yeah, because I've literally only played like two
I've just
sessions.
been following the drama with it because I think it's funny and both sad and funny at the same time.
Yeah, because like I've only played like a grand total of 2 sessions of D&D. Uh, and it's not because I bailed on the sessions. Our DM left. It was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And the rest was like, oh, okay. I mean, for all I know, they they did set up another D&D game or whatever. But the problem is, like, I left that Discord server like ages ago.
Mm.
And it was like, I don't really see much of a point to be in here anymore.
Yeah, but even D&D itself is just like becoming a ridiculous victim by this very corporatized and very
Oh yeah.
run by certain groups of people, to where that's a complete joke now.
Yep.
Like, let's have our D&D baking campaign, and we don't call we're not allowed to call things races anymore. They're ethnicities or whatever. And orcs are racist because they're an allegory for black people for some reason.
I don't think I had heard that, but I'm not
Oh
surprised.
yeah, it was a thing. That was a thing. It's
Uh,
probably still a thing.
right. I mean, would you be entirely opposed to trying D&D if you ever got the chance?
Depends on who I was doing it with.
Right. I guess that's fair.
Like, if it was just like a bunch of random strangers, no,
I mean,
probably not.
you probably... I mean, I definitely wouldn't either. It'd have to be people I at least know somewhat. Like, I will admit, I probably would not do the D&D, a D&D game with a group like what happened when I decided to give it a try, because I really didn't know a whole lot of people in that server either. And like, I have a friend that I'm pretty good friends with that has done D&D sessions before. But like, most of the time when they ever did them, I was just not available to participate. And as far as I know, they haven't done any of those in a long time. So I really don't have anybody to play with either.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, you might as well just play Baldur's Gate, since you can, do things with the bear.
Oh my goodness. Why do you assume I want to do things with the bear?
I didn't say you in particular. I'm just saying in general because, like, apparently that was a big deal for some reason,
I believe you could technically
to
sleep
the
with
point where it's becoming a meme.
I believe you could technically sleep with most of the people that are major characters in that game, not
Yep.
just the bear.
Yep, they took the everybody's buy approach again because, that's how relationships work.
I understand why they do that. It's just easier from a...
Yeah, it's easier, but that's also lazy because, again, that's not how relationships or people work. Yeah, people can be bi, but most people aren't gonna be that way.
Mhm.
And even if they are, they're not gonna just want to jump into bed with everyone because reasons.
I mean, from
Just because they're
my
bi doesn't mean they're gonna find you attractive.
I mean, from my understanding, you can't just immediately go into it. I do believe you have to raise some level of friendship with the
You
different...
do, although it would supposedly this is a quote unquote bug. I'm not sure I believe that, but apparently you could like just jump into it pretty early on in the original version.
Oh, of course.
I don't know. It's just get the game. I mean, I shit on the game all the time just because of how dumb that relationship system is and the fact that they're so obsessed with sex. But past that, the game seems pretty alright and a pretty good representation of how D&D is in video game format.
Yeah. And like, if I were to play it, I probably would turn that option off, because I know for a fact you can turn it off. Uh, at least to give you the option.
Yeah.
That being said, trying to actually find the Steam listing was not exactly fun.
Yeah, I had to point that one out, if I remember
Uh,
correctly.
did I have to have you link it, or did I finally
I
find it?
believe so. Either I don't remember if I had to link it or I had to be like, hey, you got an option you need to turn off.
I don't think I...
It was one of those two. I don't remember which.
Because, like, the reason why it was so hard for me to find was I basically had my settings set on Steam to not show me, rated M titles. Which Baldur's Gate 3 is considered rated M, but you can basically make it rated T after you turn off some
I don't
settings.
think you could really rate it T because there's still gonna be the gore.
I thought you could turn off the gore.
And you, I didn't know about that one.
I think you can turn
I
off
know
the.
you could turn nudity off, but I thought that was it.
I'm pretty sure you can turn off both. I mean,
I
gore
mean, there's
personal.
also the swearing.
Yeah, technically speaking, you can get away with a certain amount of swearing in rated T.
Yeah, but as far as I from the little gameplay I've seen, I do remember a fair few F-bombs.
Hmm. I mean, I maybe there's a way to censor that
I mean, I
too.
have seen games with like language filters, but I didn't think Baldur's Gate was one of them.
I I can't be certain on that one because I don't own it and I don't really have anybody to ask that question.
Oh man, I remember I hate it when it usually I think like having a bunch of swearing is kind of petulant but and childish, but sometimes it could be pretty funny. Because I remember when there's a Vietnam game called Viet Cong, and I think it originated from the UK
Oh.
was the original developer. But anyways, when it got localized here, they cut all the swearing out,
Oh.
or most of the swearing out, so it would be rated T. But there are ways to patch it back to the original M version. But the original M version, or at least in the boot camp, is so freaking funny with the amount of insults the drill instructor throws at you. It's just like, okay, the rest of the game probably doesn't need it, but just the training section alone is just so freaking funny with the amount of creative curses that guy comes up with. I just like, it's like only an hour long tutorial, but I'm just sitting there dying laughing the whole time.
No.
It's like that's such a shame that got censored.
Oh.
It's like it's worse than a South Park episode, but it's also more creative with its swearing at the same time. It's just like you managed to do something special with that, and I applaud you, sirs.
Well, like, I mean, as you know, I don't really swear, like, at all. Uh, and honestly, if I am that pissed off, I probably could come up with something far more creative. If I really
Yeah.
was that mad.
If I'm that mad, I'm too lazy to be creative.
Hmm.
Nah, I just let the classics flow.
Yeah, I've also not really played a whole lot of games with much language in them.
I mean,
Obviously.
I think it's kind of petulant when it's overused. I think like again, like the one I just described, if you use it well, if you're creative with your cursing and or place it well, then it can be pretty funny and or appropriate. But like so many games, like I will point to High on Life on how not to do swearing because that one is just like that is just that just sounds like a petulant teenager half the time. It's
This is
so stupid.
I also really not a huge fan when swearing is used like excessively for unrealistic reasons. Like,
Hmm.
no,
That's
you do not need to
yeah.
do that much, sir.
That's why I don't like watching much stand-up comedy. It's just like y'all are covering for the fact that your jokes are repetitive and or overused. So you just by saying the F word constantly and telling sex jokes and like I've heard it before, it's not funny.
You might actually get some enjoyment out of like dry bar comedy if you ever get a chance to look that up. Because they actually are creative with their comedy sketches.
Hmm.
And there's no swearing. Thus why it's called dry bar comedy.
I mean, again, I'm fine with the swearing, just not when that becomes the main point of it.
You're right. Yeah, if I recall correctly, dry bar is takes place in like Utah. Now, to be fair, there's been a couple of times where the people have cracked jokes about the fact that they're in Utah. Which,
Yeah, we know exactly where that's going.
you know what, fair. I guess that kind of makes sense that you would make jokes about that. But for the most part, they're pretty good sketches.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know. Like, just as far as I know, like the best comedians aren't the ones that like do extreme one side no or one side yes. It's just the ones that like will do it in moderation and well placed.
hmm. Like who?
Like Gabriel Iglesias and his early years were pretty good. His more recent performances has just been more preachy than funny. But his earlier stuff was actually pretty good.
I think
He
I've
does swear some, but it's not every other word. So when he does, it's just like, oh man, that hit a bit harder because he doesn't do it all the time.
I think I've literally only seen like one sketch of his my entire life. I do know who he is, but I think I've literally only seen one sketch, and it's the one
But yeah,
where
my parents used to love him.
and it's the sketch where he's like talking about the cops and the donuts.
Yup.
That's the only one I've seen.
That original performance that's from is like was his was his peak pretty much.
Mm, that's depressing.
Well, I mean, he stayed good after that for a while. It's just again his last few have just been really not good.
Mm,
And again, that's just more because he's just like sitting there being kind of preachy, more like a life lesson type thing than just haha funny.
ah,
It's like it's not that his talks are bad. It's just that sometimes they feel more like just talking rather than comedy.
right.
I guess another one would be John Panette, though he's been dead for a while.
I don't think I recognize who that is.
Fat guy is all I can say. Yeah,
That
he did.
really
He
doesn't tell me a whole lot.
his entire shtick, a lot of his entire stick was fat and food jokes.
Ah,
That's probably why.
mm.
He did swear more than Iglesias, but again, it was in enough moderation where you didn't think about it.
Well, like, and the reason why I'm like that doesn't help a whole lot is Iglesias is also a bit on the heavier side too. So it's like if you told me someone on the heavier side, I probably just think of him.
I mean, John Panette was probably about as big as Iglesias.
Ah,
But
yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, like as far as the extremes go, the only good on the constant swearing comedian I can think of that was good is George Carlin before he got angry and preachy.
Mm.
And the only one on the extreme not swear side I can think of is Bill Cosby.
And that was before, yeah.
Yeah, it is unfortunate how that one turned out.
I do remember watching like the Bill Cosby show. I do remember doing that.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the Cosby Show though. I'm like talking about his actual stand-up. Like, I guess it's kind of similar in like crudeness or tone or how much swearing there is to the Cosby Show, but yeah, his stand-up was like he did sneak some dirty jokes in there from time to time, but like as far as language goes, it was pretty clean,
Hmm.
and he managed to make it quite funny despite that.
You know what was a decent like movie that like has stuff for like the adults as well, all as being entertaining for the kids.
What?
Shrek.
Yeah. The first one was pretty good.
Yeah. Have you seen? Which ones have you seen?
I've only seen the first and the second. I've refused to watch the third.
Ah. Oh yeah. This is when I finally got the ability to change my spawn animation.
Nice.
There's only
But
like
yeah, this
there's only like two animations that are free to unlock. All the other ones are paid in this game.
of course. But
Like,
yeah, like when I watched the second one, it was like, yeah, I can see it. It was still decent, but I can see where this is going. And then when I saw the previews for the third, it's like, yeah, no, just no, we're not doing that.
in my humble opinion, you could probably, for the most part, just skip 3 and watch 4. There
Yeah,
might be some like story context you're missing if by skipping 3, but You're not missing too much, in my
I mean, I'm
opinion.
not in a hurry to watch 4 either, because honestly, I forgot that 4 was even a thing, because most of the time after the first two, I hear people talk about his piss and boots.
Right. You know what's funny? I think the second Puss in Boots movie is actually better than the first.
I mean, I've never seen either, but yeah, I've heard people talk the second one up quite a bit.
It's pretty decent. Like, honestly, the first movie hasn't probably aged as well as if you would hope.
Mm.
But like, there, he actually learns something in the second one, unlike the first one. I mean, I'm not saying that Puss in Boots, the first one, is bad. It's just I personally think the sequel's better.
I mean, like, the movies I'd point to for that kind of thing, like, if we're going to include live action stuff as well, would be Mouse Hunt and Rocket Man. Maybe not so much Rocket Man for the adults, but yeah, definitely Mouse Hunt.
Oh yeah, Mouse Hunt's so good. I actually genuinely really like Mouse Hunt.
Yeah,
And it's actually
that was
aged pretty well in the grand
that
scheme of
was like
things.
one of their best live action movies, if not the best live action Disney's done, unless we count Tron. Because Tron's like not supposed to be like a comedy type thing, so I don't know if we'd really count that in the same category.
Right.
And I'm not sure a lot of kids would probably particularly like Tron because it does have a pretty serious tone.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
And screw the sequels. I'm just gonna say that now.
I mean, I I think the sequel's okay. I genuinely prefer the original more.
Like I don't hate the sequel. Like hate it. I just hate it because like they took something I loved and just ruined it. Like it's not so much that it's bad. It's just that it's so boring and completely ignores the tone of the original.
Right.
It's like it's its own thing entirely. That's why I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And it also doesn't help that like one of the best movie games I can point to, Tron 2.0, is based off the original.
Hmm.
And then every Tron video game we've gotten since then has been based off the sequel movie, which I hate.
Right, right. Man, I'm trying to think of like what live action movies you might enjoy.
I mean, if we're talking specifically Disney, like I can still only think of the three that I've mentioned: Tron, Rocket Man, and Mouse Hunt.
Well, I'm just trying to think of what ones you haven't seen. Because I know you haven't seen a lot of the more recent Disney
Well, it also
movies.
doesn't help that most of the recent ones are just crappy live action remakes of animated movies,
Oh yeah, no.
and none of those have been good.
like the only one
Apart
that's
from maybe Jungle Book, I hear people talking that one up a lot. I've never seen it, but like people seem to like it.
yeah, Jungle Book was okay.
I guess 101 Dalmatians was all right.
I didn't know you had seen that one actually.
Yeah, I saw the first one. I don't remember if I saw the second one. I think I saw the second one. If I did, it's just, it was just in one ear out the other type thing.
Cruella is an interesting movie.
Then that one I definitely did not see.
Yeah, that's a newer one. I'm not surprised. Like, it does not really accurately line up with the plot of the original 101 Dalmatians at all, really. But, you know, as a standalone, it's okay. That being said, there are some other villains that I would like to see. Maybe some, uh, you know, background story of some fashion.
I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings with these villain movies because it's like they always seem to like ruin them in some way, like trying to make them way too sympathetic. Like supposedly the Joker one is supposed to be pretty good, and everyone loves and points to that one, but I think that one's more of an outlier.
I don't know. I have absolutely no interest in watching Joker.
I mean, I don't either because I don't like superhero stuff and I don't care about Batman, but still, like, everyone points to that one. It's like, yeah, maybe, but again, I think that was an outlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd like to see the other side of the story, but again, they just, like, try to turn it into, like, they always tend to, like, retcon it way too much and try to turn it into, like, more of an anti-hero than a villain.
Yeah, like, Maleficent's definitely a retcon situation. Cruella doesn't as much, but that being said, it also doesn't really line up correctly with the rest of the Dalmatian story. That being said, if I had to say what one I would like to see a movie on, like, can we get one for why am I blanking on her name? I can't remember her name at the moment. The villain from Little Mermaid. Ursula. I'd like to see a background story on Ursula.
I don't
Cause,
know what they would do with that.
cause
She's an old
there's
hag.
there's seriously something there. For why because why else would she be like so hateful towards the mermaids? There's something there.
Because she's fugly. I think it's that simple.
I mean, it could be. We don't know.
I mean, like, everything she. Granted, my only knowledge of, like, anything involving that story is literally the original animated film. So, and I only watched that a few times as a little kid. Why I did that, I don't know, because I'm stupid, I guess. But the only thing I really even remember, as far as Ursula goes, is just like her wanting to take Trident's power. And I also heard her constantly talk about beauty this and beauty that. So I think it's just like she's fugly and she's pissed off and she wants to like rule the world because she's pissed off because she's a cranky old hag.
I mean, maybe.
Like I literally think that's it.
It could be.
Again, this is just based off of that original movie. No, maybe they changed their character around some in the live action remake or any of the sequels. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I really am not sure if I could bring myself to watch the live action Little Mermaid.
I sure as hell couldn't because you know how I feel about race or gender swapping.
Yeah. I don't know.
And even if they didn't do that, it's just like number one, I don't care about the original story at all, unless they're gonna do like the actual, unless maybe they're gonna do like the actual fairy tale that's like dark and bloody, which they're not gonna do for obvious reasons.
No, it's a Disney movie. They won't
And
do
number
it.
two, it's just like I don't like these live action remakes. They suck.
Yeah.
They're lazy and they're always inferior to the original.
Mm-hmm. Like, most of the live action remakes I have not seen because I'm like, I know for a fact they're not going to be good.
Mm-hmm. It's like if you're going to make live action stuff, make original movies.
Yeah.
I don't think they're capable of doing that anymore.
Man, another member of my family were talking about the upcoming Moana movie, and
I think that's the thing.
we were talking about the fact that the plot for the sequel literally sounds like the plot for the first movie.
I'd actually heard that from Clownfish
Yeah,
TV as well.
yeah, the plot literally sounds like the plot of the first movie.
Which it probably is. If there's nothing I hate more than like a lazy remake is a remake that pretends to be a sequel.
Well, it's supposed to be a sequel. It's supposed to continue the story. It's just, why does it sound so much like the plot of the first movie?
Again, it probably is.
Yeah, like, I've heard some of the stuff that's supposed to be coming out from Disney. I'm like, I don't really care from those.
I mean, just look at Star Wars. That's a freaking mess.
Mm.
Like nothing Disney. I know your dad loves The Mandalorian for whatever reason, and yeah, the earlier parts are pretty good. But I know the path that thing goes. And even if The Mandalorian itself is good, literally everything else that's come from Star Wars has not been. Rogue One was okay, but the sequel trilogy was bad from start to finish. I don't care about people that like the first one. That one was bad. That was just a lazy rehash. That was a remake pretending to be a sequel.
Mm.
And all the other original films since its miniseries have all been garbage.
Right. Man, how did we get to Disney?
I don't know.
We
You
were
were talking about about movies that that kids like, but adults can also enjoy.
I feel like there was something else that led us to that, but
I mentioned Mouse Hunt. That's what.
no, I think there was something else, but I legit don't remember by this point.
I'm pretty sure we was talking about Mouse Hunt and Rocket Man.
Maybe. Because we were originally talking about, like, Pokemon.
I mean, like there were a lot of leaps from there from going from Pokemon to Disney though, like D&D.
Eh, true, true. Yeah.
What is with the Tengu mask?
It's one of the, costumes you can have. Like, you probably noticed mine have feathers.
Yeah, I'm aware, but like, why a Tengu mask?
Because it's one of...
That's random as hell.
Most of the costumes are random.
I guess. I don't know. That one just seemed oddly specific. But yeah, screw Disney.
That's the final note on that, I guess.
And screw Paramount as well for ruining Star Trek.
Hmm. Man, the amount of times I'm not paying attention to how much gold I have.
Would be the first time.
It probably happens at least, like, 15 times, if not more.
I have the money.
By the way, here's a fun fact about this game. This game does not work if you are not connected to the internet.
I mean, I don't see how it would, since the whole thing is like... again, I don't know if they're like active teams or not, but they're based off of player teams, so I don't... Unless they had like a shit ton of CPU generated teams lined up, or some random RNG algorithm, it would be kind of pointless to not be connected. Like, this game is just is quite literally live service.
Yeah. I found this out, the hard way. Because I temporarily lost internet while I was playing this, like, a few weeks back. And it uses that internet connection to... And even when you're in the like, resetting up your team phase... So anything you do, it's automatically saving on the server. So what happened was, I think I was trying to buy like a zebra to add to the team, and it just kept perpetually loading over and over again, and just kept saying, hey, we can't connect to the server. And then
At least
I think eventually just gave up and kicked me out.
I was about to say, at least just go we have at least it didn't do that thing other games do. It'd be like where you lose connection for like half a second. It's like connection is lost. Back to the desktop or back to the main menu.
Well,
Progress lost.
Well, it eventually did that after it failed too many times. Thankfully, if that does happen, you can just start from where you were. I did find that out.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of sucked because, like, by the time I got back to it, I was like, great, I'm not entirely sure what my plan was. So I think I lost that pretty quick afterwards.
Yeah, I freaking refuse to buy anything single player based that requires a persistent connection. Just no, we're not doing that.
Me, who has downloaded Infinite Fusion.
Infinite Fusion's like a whole nother that's a whole nother can of worms though. Not to mention it's also free.
Yeah, it is free.
No, I was speaking specifically towards paid stuff.
Well, to be fair, I didn't have to pay for anything on this game.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's why I say it's a live service game, but it's also not. I mean, I guess it kind of is single player, but you're still dealing with other people's teams.
Yeah, and sometimes RNG just says, screw you.
That's an understatement. But
And,
yeah, like, there's a couple, like, there's one strategy game I regretted buying, and a couple others I didn't because I have this stupid persistent progression that even though if you're just playing the campaign, you still have to have a persistent connection.
oh.
And the one I did buy, like, I literally have to use a freaking pirated version because the login servers don't work anymore. So
Ew.
like, I can't even play the single player anymore without using the pirate copy.
Right. I like
They,
how when I finally pay attention to the user or the other opponent's name, it's when someone named Lord Bum Bum is on the screen.
well,
Anyway, you were saying.
but yeah, I was about to say, thankfully I only paid $5 for that game, but that's still some bull crap.
Yeah, that could be worse.
Like, if there's an offline or single player component to a game, they should be required. If you ask me, they should be required by law that they have to patch it so you can play it offline if they kill the servers.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if that's ever gonna happen. I mean, as we speak, literally less than 2 weeks from now, the servers for the Wii U and the 3DS will go down.
Yeah, but like everything everything that can be played offline or single player can still be played offline though. Like I can still boot up Splatoon 1 and play through the single player or the local if I so desired.
Yeah. Did you ever play the local multiplayer
No,
on one?
I didn't have anybody to play it with, number one, and number two, I don't have a pro controller to go with it.
Man, that was an experience I'm not sure I want to do ever again.
I didn't even, what that's another thing. It's like how did you even do that? I didn't know you had a pro controller.
Um,
What?
Basically what you do is you attach the Wii Mote to another controller to give it motion controls.
I didn't know you could use the Wiimote for that mode. Mm.
It's weird. It's weird how they tackled that. And it's only that niche situation, thankfully. That being said, there's definitely been times where, like, my siblings have ranted about the fact that they're like, oh, why can't you play locally on one system? It's because the game was never designed for that in mind.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess you could do a split screen, but
I don't think
that
that would work, really.
it. I mean, it would. It just wouldn't be the same
Mm.
because you'd be able to. You'd easily be able to like pseudo cheat and see what other people are doing, just like old split screen. But like, it could work. The problem is like, controlling.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it would still be a 2v2, and it's not designed for that.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But yeah, my point being is like I could still, if I really wanted to, I could still play that mode. And again, the single player has always been playable offline.
Yeah, true.
Bare bones as it is, it's still a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's still depressing that it's happening and so soon.
I mean, I understand why, because like the only two games that are like even you have any reason to play on the Wii U online is Splatoon 1 and Mario Kart 8 if you didn't buy the deluxe version.
No, you're forgetting something else.
What?
Mario Maker.
Yeah, but the servers for that, the servers for I don't think you can share you haven't been able to share courses on that for a while though. I'm pretty sure you can only download stuff.
Yes, but once the online servers go down, all those levels are gone.
Yeah, which honestly, Mario Maker 1's courses are kind of crap. So
I heard
the only
it's.
ones that maybe we're trying are the event courses, and
I
even then, that's kind of a stretch.
I mean, I'd heard people certainly make a lot of pretty creative levels, even with the limitations that the first game had.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are some good ones, but like far too, from what I've heard, far too many of them were either like sadistic messes or auto levels.
Hmm. I don't know. I've never actually played Mario Maker.
I only played Mario Maker 1 like once, and that was just to try the event courses. The 3DS, like, there's just no reason to play it because the 3DS version, while it lacks the sharing ability, has a proper single player mode built into it,
Hmm.
and then 2 has the best of both worlds. Even though I think this, I like the idea of the story mode, but it was just wasn't executed particularly well. I kind of like the single player offering from the 3DS game more than 2, but it's still a proper single player mode.
Right,
And plus
right.
it has the ability to play and share courses like the Wii U version does with more tools.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and since the Wii U version had no proper single player apart from like the event courses and the few built-in ones if you're not connected to the internet, there's just if that one goes down, I don't think anyone really cares anymore.
I think Pretendo is working on trying to find a way to, like, you know, collect all the data of the different levels so it's not completely lost media.
I mean, it would yeah, I was about to say it would be nice if they found a way to preserve it, but I don't number one, I don't know how they would, and number two, it just again, I apart from maybe the creators of those courses themselves, because of the work they put into, I just don't think anybody really cares.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the other games that have that online, like there's no reason to play Smash 4 online. There's no reason to play Smash 4 period apart from a couple of unique maps that didn't make it into Ultimate and the I guess the classic mode, but as far as the multiplayer, there's just no reason to play that over Ultimate.
And the multiplayer, unless it's local, is trash in Ultimate.
And it's better than Brawl's online, but yeah, it was pretty bad.
I've seen my siblings try to play online Smash
I've
Ultimate,
played
and it's
I've played
so
all
bad.
I've played all of them, all of the ones that have online, and it's yeah, it's not nearly as bad as Brawl's was, but it's still like there's no reason to play it over Ultimate because Ultimate's at least stable for the most part as long as someone's not lagging too terribly.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the thing. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash died really freaking quick, and Mario Party 10 didn't even have online. And the few third party games have been long dead that have had online. Like, you
Right.
know, whatever Call of Duty ports it had have been long dead.
Right, right.
Look at my collection actually real quick.
Yeah, because you actually have a collection.
I guess was Wii Sports Club, but that one's also been the online for that one's also been dead for a while, and there's no reason to play that over Switch Sports. Even though I do think that one was really an unfortunate circumstance because for the 5 games that are there, I think apart from the golf, which is easily best in Switch Sports, the other 4 are easily the best they have ever been in Wii Sports Club.
Mm.
So if they hadn't have bubbled the launch so bad, that one like probably would have been a lot better. But either way, like again, that one was dead like a long time ago. And just looking at the other stuff I have, everything else has just been the few other games that I have that do have online have either been dead or have been ported better to the Switch.
Right.
Because yeah, most of this stuff doesn't even have online actually.
I mean, a large chunk of my stuff doesn't either. I mean, Pokemon has a whole trading mechanic and such, which will be going down when the 3DS servers go down, unfortunately. I guess
Mhm.
Bank is still going to be up for the time being. Not that I have access to Bank anyways, because I never paid for it in the first place, so I never downloaded it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my. Yeah, I'm just gonna read, tell you the stuff I have on the Wii U. Splatoon that have online at all. Splatoon 1, Super Smash Bros. Wii U, Wii Sports Club, Splinter Cell Blacklist. I don't remember if Resident Evil Resolutions had online for its raid mode or not. I don't think it did. Star Fox Guard, which that was a passive online. 007 Legends. Um, I already mentioned that Mario Kart 8, but I don't have that version anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
I
sold it or
think
something.
Sonic. Yeah, I did. I don't. I think Sonic Racing Transformed might have had an online, but I haven't actually played it, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and I think Sochi might have had like a leaderboard function, but that was about it. So yeah, that's literally about it.
Mm. Yeah, outside of
And then
like Splatoon and the Pokemon games, I don't largely play a whole lot of online stuff.
yeah, and like the 3DS is even less because apart from the online functionality of the Pokemon games, like there were a couple of small games that had online that died pretty quick. The only one I actually like had and played online were Kid Icarus, Uprising, and Mario Kart 7.
Mm-hmm.
Which surprisingly enough, I did get into a Mario Kart 7 online race recently just to try it.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
yeah, I mean, I like 7, but there's not much reason to play that one multiplayer over 8. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah, that's fair. I still,
but
I still
yeah,
have
and I'm
my.
pretty sure Kid Icarus is dead.
It's not. I don't believe. At least I've heard talk about them making it possible via Pretendo
Hmm.
and actually functioning fairly well like that.
Yeah. I guess there's also the online functionality for Animal Crossing New Leaf, but I think most of those people were already moved on to New Horizons anyway.
Wait, what are we referring to in that context then?
Like playing Tortimer's Island, that kind of stuff.
Wait, Tortimer's Island required online connection?
Didn't require it, but you could do it with other people.
Oh, see, New Horizons was my first Animal Crossing game.
I mean, it was for me as well. That's why I never actually tried the online functionality for New Leaf.
Hmm. So you don't actually own New Leaf?
No, I own New Leaf, and I did play it for like a couple of weeks.
Ah,
It's just I think I picked that one up and played through it either last year or the year before.
ah.
I think that was 2022. I played through the other Animal Crossing games, just putting a couple weeks into each one.
Hmm. Animal Crossing is an interesting idea for a game, I will say. But it's also like one of those games that's like hard to stay invested in for long periods of time. Because, it heavily relies on you regularly checking in so much.
Yeah, and there's no like there apart from like the very minimalistic story mode. well, story content that gives you goals to work to and New Horizons and the New Horizons versions of Happy Home Designer. There's not really anything to work to. So if you put a couple weeks into each one, you've pretty much seen what most of the game has to offer. So past that point, you're just playing to work on whatever goals you set and just you know do what you do in Animal Crossing. But at that point, there's just not really much reason to go back and play those when New Horizons is a thing, apart from maybe the original because of how bombastic the animals are
Mm-hmm.
and how much of a Giga Chad Mr. Rossetti is.
You're just mad that he's not really a thing in the
Yes,
Horizons.
yes, I am. He's a freaking Giga Chad, and they neutered him in New Horizons, or not New Horizons. They neutered him in New Leaf, and then pretty much got rid of him almost completely in New Horizons. That boy needs to come back and scar some children. They need a dose of reality.
Right. Hmm. Yeah. You did remind me that once again that I keep forgetting about the fact that I have access to the DLC for New Horizons. I keep forgetting about that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I made that video where Ian and I talked about the two, and just like apart from the facilities, the fact that there's more stuff to do with the facilities in the New Leaf version of Happy Home. There's just the New Horizons one is just so much better.
Right. Yeah, and all my villagers probably think I'm dead.
I mean, mind you too. I got on I stopped playing New Horizons before the DLC was a thing for the most part, and then I got back on for a while to play the DLC as well as to mess with the new features. And then, after I was done playing with the DLC, I kind of just stopped again, only getting on a couple times after that. I know I got on once because like another friend of mine did island tours with each other. So apart from that, I have not touched it.
I've done literally like one island tour, and it was just with my sister-in-law, because like she had been playing the game a little bit, so we basically just showed each other what progress we had made. And like I don't think I've made much progress since that island tour I did, and I was like still very heavy in the work in progress phase. uh I think the only major things that have probably happened since was I got some dreamy villagers that I really wanted. So like I got Chino, I got Ione, um I got Marlowe. So like I had 10 villagers. It's just I haven't even gotten 3 stars last I looked, because I hadn't decorated the island enough to get the 3 stars.
Mhm.
And like that's the frustrating thing, is like there's so many really interesting things that are locked behind having 3 stars. Like I want to say having like the coffee shop is locked behind having 3 stars. The specialized islands I think are locked behind the 3 stars as well. Being able to do major changes to the island is locked behind 3 stars. But the getting to 3 stars is not necessarily the most interesting thing to do after a point. And I think that's a large chunk of the reason why I never did.
Yeah.
Which is crying shame, because I did have ideas for what I wanted to do with my island. I wanted to make a little kind of cute and cozy, like, little town and such, but it's just a combination of I had other things to do with my life and just how long it takes to do certain things. Especially if you're a person that doesn't do time skipping like I do.
I mean, I only did it a couple of times, but yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure I never time skipped once with, New Horizons.
I time skipped by accident technically because I went to somebody else's island who was time skipped, but the only time I really actually did it intentionally was when I was trying to get rid of a certain villager.
I guess that's fair, yeah. For the most part, time skipping really doesn't do too many bad things in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, as long as you don't have turnips.
If you don't, yeah, if you don't have turnips, it doesn't matter. And even then, it's only if you go backwards in time, I want to say. If you're going forwards in time, the game, like, can't tell or something like that. It's just if you try to, like, fix your clock back to the proper date, it's like, oh, I see.
Yeah, I don't know.
And of course, there's the whole, like, messy hair thing and the cockroaches in your house.
I knew about the messy hair thing beforehand, but I didn't know the cockroaches were a thing.
Yeah, if you spend too long, if you skip too far ahead in time, you get cockroaches. I mean, to be fair, if you just don't play the game for, like, months on end, you also will get cockroaches.
Yeah, and it took me a while to, like, fully get rid of them, too.
Well, if I recall correctly, you have to clear them out 3 days in a row or something like that, and then they'll be permanently gone. Until you spend another extended period of time away. What's funny is cockroaches used to be a catchable bug in the Animal Crossing series.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I want to
forget.
say it was New Leaf that started that, making them, like, infest your house.
Right. I forget which game it is that had them as a catchable bug, but it is one of the older ones.
Oh man, did I tell you about the Pinky fiasco involving Ian?
Probably. That sounds familiar.
So I know I've said multiple times he's like the biggest Pinky simp ever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So early on when right before I got the first game,
Do you,
he was desperately trying to get Pinky,
do you, do
and
you, just for
sorry,
context, I was gonna say, do you want to say who Ian is?
he's a friend of mine.
Yeah,
He's also a former squad mate.
right, yeah.
So, anyways, he he was trying to get Pinky, and then Moon, another friend of mine who's also in the same squad, found Pinky on an island fairly early on, and he was just like, "Hey Ian, look who I found." And then just to add insult to injury, he brought him to the island, and so he was trying to negotiate for the release of Pinky. And I don't remember what exactly he was trying to like trade her for, but like Moon ended up keeping her because I guess he liked her as well. And then I got the game, and then I got to the point where I could get 3 more villagers after the one you get stuck with from the tent.
Yeah.
So I forget who the first one I found was. It might have been Zucker,
Ah.
but the next one, the second one from the island, was Pinky. Of all the ones I ran into, the second try it was freaking Pinky. So then I take a picture of it. I posted on our in the squad Discord room. It's like, "Hey Ian, look," and then Daryl looked in and it was like, "No freaking way." And then Ian was like, "All right, this is the point where I start begging again."
I'm assuming Daryl is another
Yeah,
supposed to be
yeah,
squad.
yeah. He was, and he was just like, no freaking way, because he was like flabbergasted. Both me and Moon had the odds of both of us finding her and getting her on our island. Not only that, but getting her before Ian did.
I think I had Pinky show up on an island once, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, but then Ian eventually just gave up, and I guess his idea of coping was just like, well, she's on two friends' islands, so I don't really want her. She's already on two other friends' islands. Like, yeah, sure you don't.
uh,
So that is the story of how I got Pinky and kept Pinky and actually grew to like her.
right. Yeah.
And the funny
Uh,
thing is like there is a bit more context to that because like when we first got started, he was still actively playing New Horizons, and he
mm,
told us the story of how he had gone through Great Lakes to get Pinky and New Leaf,
right.
and then he got so mad because Pinky just packed up and left without any sort of warning.
In New Leaf?
Yeah,
Because they won't leave on their own New Horizons.
yeah, they will in New Leaf though. And I guess that's how we found that out the hard way.
Oh, you know what? I am glad that they can't just up and leave in Horizons.
But yeah, he was so mad about that when that happened.
Because holy smokes, would I be so sad if some of my dreamies just up and left.
Yeah, there is the other story of like me in New Horizons, and I don't remember if I told you that one involving the big female villagers,
Like, what are we referring to as big female villagers?
like the tall ones, the chonky ones,
Ah,
a mix of the two, tall and chonky.
right.
So anyway, like when I first got the game, I started doing island tours with the other squad mates, and in part of I'd sometimes go and talk to the other animals to see what the conversations were. We're talking with animals on another person's island.
Right, right.
Every single time, they'd start hitting on me, and it was always the same body types that did it too. So finally, Luda was like, "I find it hilarious that this keeps happening to you, and it's always the big females that do it."
Man, I have to ask this. Was there ever a villager that you decided to let go that you're like, oh man, I kind of regret letting them leave?
Nope.
Because
I've only
I have one villager that I let go that I'm like, oh man, why did I do that? I kind of want him
I've
back
only ever
now.
booted I've only ever booted three out, and I didn't really care about any of them. The first one was Keaton. Screw that guy. I'm glad I got stuck with him through the tent, and it took me forever. I was constantly beating the crap out of him with like the freaking net just to try to get him to go away, and he wouldn't do it.
I thought that was proven to not actually do anything.
I didn't know any better at the time. I thought it might help.
No, what's sad is, I still have my tent villager in, New Horizons. I can't get him to leave. And I
But yeah,
don't like him. I don't like the look of him.
I finally got rid of Keaton, and then the second one I got rid of was Sally, and that was primarily not so much I did disliked her. I don't. Is more based because I had two squirrels, two female
Ah,
squirrels, I might add.
right.
And then it was like between the two, it was like I was gonna get rid of Mint originally, but then she started shit talking Keaton, and it was like, all right, you can stay. So I got rid of Sally, and then the third one was I got rid of Zucker because Breaky was trying to get rid of Marina. So I was like, okay, I'll take Marina, and I don't really need two octopuses, so I got rid of Zucker.
Right. Yeah, when I was creating my island, it's like, okay, I don't really want two of the same general species. So for the most part, that's what I did. That being said, there's definitely one instance where I'm like, ooh, I would maybe be okay with having two deer.
But yeah, I did more or less. I did semi unintentionally end up turning my island into a giant harem.
Are all of them female?
I've only got one male villager, and that's the starter, Biff. And
Oh.
he's the homie, so he gets to stay.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I may have only one male villager on mine. I think everybody else is female. Because I'm trying to think of who I have. Because I have Marlowe, who I know is male. He's a cranky villager, but like, he's kind of a cool cranky villager. Oh wait, no, I have one other male villager. I have Dom, the sheep.
I mean, I don't know if this is like related to the big women always hitting on me, but like, I only ever had a total of 3 on my island. The other 2 were Keaton and Zucker, which I got rid of. I just always end up coming across the females, and the females I do come across, like, ew, I don't like your design. No, like the freaking gorillas. Yeah, I said a big hell no to Al. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I want to say I just don't like any of the gorillas at all.
I mean, the monkeys are pretty bad, but the gorillas are hideous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of them make Barreled look good, and that's saying something.
Yeah, so the villager that I regretted letting go is Punchy. I I kind of wanted to swap him out because I was like, I want to try to get some other ones. And then after he left, I was like, oh, I actually kind of like him. Shoot. And I've not been able to get him back since. Not that I really tried all that hard. Oh, wait, I just remembered. I have Admiral on my island, which I think what happened was somebody left and Admiral took the spot before I had a chance to fill the spot in with someone else. And I don't like him either. Right, and I have Henry, who is my tent villager, who will not leave. I want him to leave so bad. And he keeps saying no. I'm gonna stay here. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, probably the one that took me the most time to get rid of was Keaton, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the one I was time traveling. I ended up just giving up and time traveling for to get rid of.
I think... Yeah, I never time traveled. I only really did one villager hunt the entire time I was playing New Horizons. And I actually got a dreamy villager that I wanted, miraculously enough. I got Meringue, the rhino, to show up. It's not the specific one I was like outwardly like, oh, I definitely am hunting for this, but it was like my second or third option. So I was like, well, this hunt's over.
Man, oh, and speaking of like finding like of all the things you find, Naomi picked up the managed to find Raymond of all things.
Oh no, don't get me started on that. I do not get the appeal of Raymond. He's just a cat with glasses.
I think it's more the fact that he's that plus the attitude.
Uh, I don't always.
That's my guess. But like that's the only reason she even picked it up is because he's like the one everyone obsesses over.
Isn't he like a? I can't remember. Is Raymond a lazy or cranky?
I don't know.
He's one of those two. You know what's another one that was like really popular? Bob.
I don't even know which one that is.
It's the purple cat. Surely you've seen Bob before.
Nope.
How?
Or I might have. I just don't remember it.
Huh.
I thought the number 2 cat that everyone simps over was Anka.
Anka, actually, is how you pronounce it.
Now there's one I don't get.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, like
I'm not a huge fan of the Egyptian aesthetic that she has.
the only one I could think of, like I know a lot of people make a big deal of is Shino.
Oh yeah, I have Shino. Shino's
I've
re
got Shino on my um Happy Home Designer Island.
ah. I especially like the fact that Shino has like uh her birthday's Halloween. That's really cute. Cause she's like based off of like an Oni or whatever. Oh look, it's my cat. She's come to say hi.
I'll
Man,
take some Intensify.
we're actually almost made it all the way through this recording with her coming in.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Calm down, woman. I'll be there in a bit.
Come here, you. Do you want to be picked up?
She wants me to pick her up, probably.
Nah, I think she would. I think she would like me to pick her up. Maybe.
I don't know about that one. She always comes right. Last time she came right to me.
Well, that's probably because you weren't directly in front of the desk. There, to be fair, there's not a whole lot of room for her over here. Anyway, we might want to actually commentate back on the game, because this is actually the last run I did.
I mean, I don't know what to say apart from freezing the butt peach.
Man, Sash, chill.
I had to explain that to my parents the other day about the whole
Why?
butt peach thing. I was just like, you haven't heard that one before. Just look at it. That's why. Just take a close look at it. Just tell me that doesn't tell me and tell me that doesn't look like that way.
I am so glad I have never had to explain eggplants or peaches or any of that to my parents.
I mean, I would think the eggplant would be self-explanatory, but fair enough.
Do your folks know what the eggplant means?
I have not brought that up. We don't even have eggplants, so I can't. I never find an opportunity to comment on it.
I've never
Now,
personally.
cucumbers I could comment on, but I've never found the opportunity to do so, or the reason to.
I've never actually had eggplant, so I don't know if I even like it.
We've had eggplant before. It's just, no, not my thing.
Hmm.
I only tried it once because I think it was mixed into something.
Ah. Yeah, part of the reason why I've never had eggplant is because someone in my house actually doesn't like eggplant, so
Is it the same one that happens to despise tuna?
maybe. Can you-
Man, she sounds pickier than I am, and that's saying something.
I mean, a large chunk of my family is fairly picky.
I mean, you know how picky I am too, but still.
Sash, what are you doing? And like, ignoring her doesn't help either. She just gets louder and more vocal.
Oh, we know.
Uh, that's what I get for having a Oriental mix. Which, like, for the most part, if you just glance at her, she really doesn't look like an Oriental mix. But if you, like,
It
look...
looks like my cat just glancing at her.
Yeah, but no, there's actually some... There's just...
You know how Jack sounds. He sounds completely different to that.
Oh, yeah. If you also look, like, at her face and such, too, her face is more slender than typical short hair would be. So... She also has little tiny tufts on her ears. Nope, your golden retriever is not gonna help you this time. I think this is the most amount of time I use the golden retriever summoning tool. because like there was never really a good opportunity for it in previous runs I did. I would like to state I have like 20 hours in this game from playing it off and on.
I'm not surprised.
Which, I mean, that's pretty good for a free game.
I mean, I guess.
That's a pretty good run for your money.
Which is nothing if you're not buying the microtransactions.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably, I mean, the most I would hate to think of how much time I put into that SMT online game, but to be fair, quite a bit of it was just idling.
Me staring at how many hours I have in Cookie Clicker. Like most.
Which is still not as much as I put into any of the Splatoon games, including the first one.
Really?
I mean, I was only playing the first one for like a year, because again, I started playing around the time of the SpongeBob Splatfest, but I was playing comp. Keep that in mind.
Right. Yeah, because, like, I have something like 400 plus hours in Cookie Clicker, but most of that is just idling while I'm doing something else, because that's pretty much the main way you play Cookie Clickers. You just have it running in the background.
Sounds about right.
But, like, if I don't add that context, it sounds really concerning. Like, good lord, 400 hours in just an idle game. What are you doing with your life?
An idle game called Cookie Clicker, nonetheless.
I mean, Cookie Clicker is also, like, one of the oldest idlers that exists, too. It's just, it wasn't until it became available on Steam that I really got a chance to try it out. Because prior to that, it was just a browser title. And basically, the only way to maintain your progress was to just keep a tab open all the time. Which is not realistic.
Ugh. I mean, I've never really played an idler, so... Oh man, I do remember when I saw this freaking, Monster Girl idler game came out on Steam. I was like, oh, I bet that'll be popular.
What? Why?
What?
Why?
Because it's Monster Girls, why not? It's like Prime Rule 34 material.
I just find it funny that, like, the most recent game you gifted me is not only has aspects of Pokemon, but also idle games.
And funnily enough, that one was on a deep sale.
I don't think it was that expensive to begin with.
It wasn't, but it was like on like, okay, that's like a Valentine's card present. Why not?
Right, yeah. I just find it funny.
I don't know.
Nah. No, what's funny is, like, that game, for context, I'm talking about Fableverse, recently got a major content update, and literally they added something that is very reminiscent of Cookie Clicker into it.
Man, they even try to hide it.
Like, a large chunk of everything you do in there was very idly, but then they added a mechanic where...
Also...
I'm surprised you went this long not quacking like a duck. I'm impressed. No, what's funny about this whole thing is, like, this this run, this particular one, relies very heavily on summoning things. And yet I don't actually have anything that specifically benefits from summons. Because, like, you see I'm debating the dog, which gives perks for summoning. But the thing I realize is it's too late to add the dog in. Because, like, certain builds are only really feasible if you can get the certain pets you need early enough.
Right.
If you get them too late, it's just not reasonable. Ah, yes, the suspicious birds.
Oh man, it's dinner. I like how nobody like I like how nobody just commented on the fact that I literally just named a ho ho dinner.
What do you mean?
I named the ho ho dinner. And I was surprised nobody commented on that.
Commented on what?
The screenshot I posted.
Wait, which screenshot are we talking about?
The one where from Heart Gold that I posted a while back.
Oh.
Where it's just like showing the fact that I have a ho ho named dinner.
You know what? To be fair, I'm not sure if I recall seeing it. Why Ho-Oh specifically, and not, like, Moltres?
Because Moltres doesn't look like it'd be tasty.
But Ho-Oh does?
I mean, yeah, it looks like a giant turkey. Or a giant pheasant.
It does not.
Either way, I'm gonna shoot it and eat it. I don't care how legendary it is, it probably just makes it taste even better.
Man, I wonder how many people have tried to debate the edibility of all the Pokemon.
Instead of smash or pass, it's like down or pass. I don't know.
Would I eat this Pokemon or not?
I mean, let's be fair.
I mean, to be fair, has been confirmed that there are certain ones that have been, consumed.
I mean, to be fair though, like most of them aren't really something you'd see as like, get in my belly. That's mostly gonna be like Miltank, Tauros, Ho-Oh, that kind of stuff.
I don't think people think of eating Ho-Oh. I don't know.
Oh come on, it's a giant pheasant. That's like not only is that like probably something good and self cooking, I might add. It'll feed a family for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Look how big that thing is.
I don't think it's as big as we think it is.
I mean, either way, it'll probably give you a good feast. Certainly more than certainly give you more meat than shooting a deerling, probably. Which deerling would probably be tasty too. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, it probably would. I mean, there are Pokemon that have been confirmed to be eaten, like Slowpokes.
Why would you eat that? That's like of all the things you could eat, you want to eat the freaking water, the psychic water thing that looks like it's been tainting its meat by being high all day.
There's literally in-game instances of Slowpoke tails. Like,
again, I don't get it. It's like, what do you see in the Slowpoke of all things?
I think it's something like it's supposed to be a very like high quality, fat, buttery type of meat or something like that.
Maybe it gets them high. I don't know.
No, it's not that.
That'd be like going down to Colorado during a zombie apocalypse and eating someone. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you eat that of all things. Again, just go out and shoot one of the go shoot one of the Obama drone seagull things or the child biting pelicans. Probably be better than a slow bro of all things.
Right. Also, this is literally the first time I've ever
Wait,
won.
oh shit, you actually won that. I didn't realize.
Yeah, this is
No
the
wonder you want me to pay attention to it.
maybe I was not so subtly trying to hint at that. Yeah. Yeah, this is
Man,
like
it only took you 20 hours to finally get a win.
yeah, and getting lucky with the right combo. Because basically summoning builds are usually the most successful ones.
Yeah, no wonder you wanted to podcast this instead of doing a regular recording because we probably listen to you screaming right now and have to cut that out.
No, I didn't scream when I did it.
I don't know. I might have to ask your dad if you heard anything through the vent.
No. I don't even think he was. I think he had to go do something. And so I was like, yep, I'm done.
I mean, I would too if you're spending that much time and finally got a win. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been running that for 2 hours straight. That's like, I don't know. To me, that seems like a game you play in short bursts, not for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess it does have that one more turn type thing going for it.
Yeah. Anyway, we should probably wrap up. Because this is pretty much where I stop.
You haven't done Pokemon Smash or Pass or or Dine or Dash.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, because I literally just change the hat and I leave. But anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed us, talking for like 2.5 hours. But, yep.
I apologize for my shit voice, subjecting you to that for 2.5 hours.
Right. Anyway, later, everybody.